Liberalism causes people to imagine racism around every corner where none exists, and those who come down with a bad case of liberalism are also susceptible to the delusional belief that there are too many white people everywhere, or, as they say, a lack of diversity. And since liberals are miserable people who are obsessed with ruining normal people's lives, they can't stop complaining about many classic TV shows from the past, which are now seen in hindsight as racist because, you guessed it, there are too many white people in them. Beverly Hills 90210, Seinfeld, Home Improvement, Everybody Loves Raymond, Growing Pains, Family Ties, Cheers, Frasier, Full House, Dawson's Creek, Friends, and countless others all lack diversity. Even with the rash of revivals and reboots, critics are upset that many of the show's racial makeup has remained the same. The Hollywood Reporter even complained about the, quote, blinding whiteness of nostalgia TV. In The Return of Roseanne, however, producers tried to fix this problem by depicting her son DJ as having married a black woman, and one of the daughters, Becky, the blonde one, got knocked up by an illegal alien. Friends star David Schwimmer, who played Ross, has suggested that his show be rebooted with an all-black group of friends, even though that show has already been made before Friends. It was called Living Single, and Friends was basically an all-white reboot of that show, but there will never be enough diversity in sitcoms and feature films. No matter how many shows feature an all-black cast or star black characters, the left will never be satisfied. There were plenty of black sitcoms in the 1990s, like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Family Matters, A Different World, Martin, Rock, Hanging with Mr. Cooper, The Hughleys, The Wayans Brothers, The Cosby Show, and many more, all with black stars and few, if any, white actors involved. But God forbid some sitcoms exist with a white-only cast. Of course, black-only shows were made long before the 90s, like The Jeffersons, Good Times, Sanford and Son, and others back in the 70s, and today there are shows like Empire, Power, Blackish, Grownish, and many others. And nobody complains that those shows don't have any lead white actors in them or threaten to boycott them for a lack of diversity. Because diversity is only a one-way street. Hollywood's obsession with it is so bad that when Toy Story 4 was nominated for the Best Animated Feature at the Golden Globes, some lunatics voiced concerns that none of the toys in the franchise were black. Keep in mind that Woody, Bo Peep, and Buzz Lightyear are the only human toys. The rest are ones like Mr. Potato Head, a dog, a pig, and a dinosaur. The Hollywood Reporter even complained about the, quote, near absence of people of color, despite two toys being voiced by the black comedy duo Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key, but that's not good enough. Their review went on to complain that not only are all of the lead toys Caucasian, they actually use that word, but the new character Forky is a, quote, very white fork. The toy is homemade. It's created from a plastic spork, some stick-on googly eyes, and has pipe cleaners for arms. It's a spork. It doesn't have a race. There weren't enough black people in Joker to please some critics either, even though Joaquin Phoenix's character starts dating a neighbor of his who is a single black mother. Time magazine complained that her character had too small of a role, saying that in Joker, black women are visible, but they're not seen. Whatever the hell that means. The film Little Women, which is based on a novel written in 1868 about 4 young girls living during the Civil War and coming of age, is also too white. A writer for Teen Vogue, a Marxist publication dedicated to perverting the minds of teenage girls, wrote that when old literary classics are made into film, they need to better incorporate diversity. The Hollywood Reporter complained that Christmas movies on the Hallmark Channel don't have enough black people in them and struggles to give diversity a home during the holidays. Their complaint begins with a snarky, while other networks are viewing the holidays with an eye towards inclusion, Hallmark is delivering the dream of a white Christmas just like the ones audiences used to know. And then they complain that only 4 out of the network's 24 Christmas specials had black leads, which is actually 16% of the shows, even though black people are only 13% of the population, so they were actually overrepresented. But if you've seen any television commercials over the last year and a half, you can't help but notice that there's barely a single one without them. The mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti, wants to double the number of Latinos in TV shows and movies within the next 10 years and launched a project called LA Collab in order to, quote, connect Latinx talent, executives, and creators to opportunities in the entertainment industry. Latinx, if you're wondering, is the new politically correct gender-neutral term for Latino, since even that is problematic these days, but that's a topic for a whole other video. Los Angeles County contains at least 5 million Hispanics, and there are now at least 60 million living in the United States. 20 million at least are illegal aliens. So Hollywood's doing everything that they can to cater to them. For example, Jimmy Kimmel's little sidekick, Guillermo, who speaks broken English, is paid $500,000 a year to stand off the side of the stage and laugh at his jokes and chime in once in a while with his catchphrase, "That's right, Jimmy!" Before becoming a fixture on the show, he actually worked as a security guard in the parking lot at ABC Studios, making $8 an hour. There have been a flood of TV shows starring Latinos in recent years, including the Magnum P.I. reboot and the Party of Five reboot. But there will never be enough to satisfy the social justice warriors. Soon there will be growing calls for Arab versions of shows to be rebooted, because those of Middle Eastern descent will clamor about being underrepresented in American entertainment. And after that, there will be Indians or Native Americans or indigenous people or whatever politically correct term they're calling themselves these days, and then after that, probably Eskimos. We're sliding down a slippery slope of stupidity with no end, and if white celebrities don't regularly denounce their own white privilege and falsely claim that their success is due to the color of their skin, then they may become a suspected white supremacist themselves and aren't seen as an ally of the black community. Chelsea Handler even hosted a show on Netflix called Hello Privilege, It's Me Chelsea, which examined white privilege and followed her around. She traveled across the country endlessly apologizing for being white and talking with other people about how terrible white people have made America for people of color. Jon Stewart even issued an apology for having too many white people on the staff of The Daily Show when he was the host. He hadn't even been the host for 5 years and nobody was concerned about it, but he too had to announce that he was sorry and began doing various interviews to give his 2 cents about how America needs more diversity. He's even called for black people to be paid reparations, of course. After the Black Lives Matter riots in the summer of 2020, the media became even more obsessed with demonizing white people, and there was an endless flood of celebrities apologizing for their white privilege and even producing PSAs about how sorry they are and they're going to take responsibility. Poor Jimmy Fallon looked like he was being held at gunpoint when he interviewed Dr. Robin DiAngelo, the author of White Fragility, a book about how liberals think that white people have ruined America for black people. And he had her on The Tonight Show to literally just lecture the audience and himself about how white people are making life, quote, miserable for them. He went along with the agenda so well that he just sat there agreeing with everything she said, even when she said that he was a racist too, but didn't even know it. The Tonight Show actually deleted that segment from their YouTube channel because of the backlash. Usually they'll just turn off the comments, but that entire segment got dumped down the memory hole. The cultural Marxism is so much worse, but I can only get into so much detail here on YouTube. So order my book, Hollywood Propaganda, How TV, Movies, and Music Shape Our Culture, in paperback from Amazon.com, or download the ebook from any of the major ebook stores. And of course, there's a link to the Amazon listing in the description below. So click it and head on over there and check it out.